Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be doing chapter 9 Lessons and Questions. And obviously, the contents page and things like this are slightly out because we're going through it and doing it as we go. Chapter 9 Lessons and Questions. So let's get on with that. The greatest lesson I can teach you is one of selflessness. Then gratitude as you get to experience reality on a different level. Sign 6. The sign is out of order. The signs are out of order in this version. As it was granted earlier in 2019, all signs are out of order, though I try to give the year when it was accomplished. The time when I requested this sign, I could not confirm it. This is one of the reasons I had to instead list a sign. I instead listed a sign I could prove at the time. I only recently came across the evidence, the proof, that in fact I had requested in 2019 had in fact been granted. And when I wrote this, certainly it's been a few years since that evidence was given. At least a couple of years, I'd say. You see, I'm very specific about checking the evidence of the sign. It must match what I requested in multiple details. So the details that matched were the anniversary, the message, including the purpose of life, the cancer, the fixed depression, the daughter and the son, and pretty much a totally dysfunctional family being fixed. I recall one of Jordan's videos, Jordan Peterson videos, as he expressed that he was living 15 minutes at a time. Because this person had helped so many people, I decided to help him as he had suffered enough. And that's one of the reasons for the sign, was that he had suffered, he and his family had suffered enough. More specifically, years earlier, as I recall, he had gone out of his way to help others with extra help when their lives were so bad. So people were contacting him and he was still helping them in his own time. And he was crying, retelling of how bad their lives were. I do remember. As I researched into his family and the reasons for the depression, it is like the entirety of everything bad that could happen did happen to him. He was there for others and no one was there for him. I knew his depression definitely had additional family factors, so I had to fix the entire family, all of them. So I asked God Q to fix their entire family, all of it, and to fix his depression. I asked God Q if he could let me talk to her, to Tammy, to send her a message. He could use my voice or his. He would work out the minutiae. I gave a quick message, but he could change it if he wished. If their anniversary was soon, as in months, in my research I thought I came across August, then I wanted it to occur on their anniversary. She was dying, family is important, and that date would symbolize this for them. The reason I gave for this sign is his family had suffered enough. The message to her, it started with "Hello, Tammy," while she lay dying, and I knew she would suffer greatly for a while. She would endure it, as she knew when she would be cured. I definitely wanted it to happen at their anniversary, as family is important, not just their family, but all families. She would not know in the message that I wanted her to have 10 to 15 more years, at least. I recall if that was an exact number, or I can't recall if that was an exact number, or at least 10 to 15 years. I'm fairly certain I made it at least 10 to 15 years, the benevolent side of those numbers. Most likely, at least, I wanted to be benevolent about it. Their daughter would be fixed, and if their son needed fixing, he too would be fixed. Ooh, fixed a bloody lot of them. If you want me to spell it out, then yes, I had them all healed to save one good person, which is why it required me to keep Tammy alive and in such a poor condition that the children would be forced to change their perspective on life. Saving him, specifically him, had nothing to do with religion. And from your perspective, if he is long since dead, you wonder why I use such power to save just one man, just one family. Their family only understands the gift came from God. They might be aware of my name since I've tried to contact them. From your perspective, you get to see a little kindness because I judged him worthy of keeping him alive for as long as possible. His depression would have spiraled downwards, and he was obviously hanging on by a thread. The words I spoke in his voice were, or as close to this as I remember, "Hello, Tammy. Hello, Tammy. Do not be afraid. You'll be cured of your cancer by your anniversary. I'm sorry this takes away your freedom and free will, so I'll give you a purpose in life. And that is to help as many people as possible. Thank you." Or as many people as you can. I'll let God, GQF, fill in the minutiae of each sign. He is a remarkable being and fills in the details that I cannot accomplish. At this moment in time, 14th of April 2025, I wonder if he wishes to keep hidden such that the signs cannot specifically reveal him. They can infer he is real, but not specifically declare he is real. We'll come to an instance where some, in this chapter, where they saw one of the signs happening in real time. And I will get to that in future. All religions see their specific God, not the real God, as a resource that you can extract everything you want from them. That they are there to do your bidding at all times of day. What can I have today? Immortality, long life, cures, raised from the dead, walking on water. If only you worship him and pray to him as frequently as possible, these things will happen. He expects you to constantly want things from him. Surely he likes it when he is asked to do everything for you and give you this freely. Everyone gets everything they ever wanted all the time because, that's how benevolence should work, But let me tell you the truth, religion is a lie. For this reason, try to think of God, of GQF God, as an actual living, breathing human. That is instead not sort of out there, but really can be right here with you as a close friend. Now look at your close human friends that you have now, and let's give them a test. You can give them a test. Do you think that you can go to one of your close friends and ask them to get you something from the shop? Would they? A close friend, of course, maybe if they were on the way, but we're specifically, if they were there, can you go and get me something? Yeah, sure. They may. When they get back, ask them to do that again and get something else. How many times do you think it would take before they said no? Do it yourself. Did not reply, did not come back, or busy. First, you must prove yourself worthy of being a friend if you wish God to be your friend. Friendship does not start with the actions of a psychopath. When you want to create real human friendships, the first thing you do is something for them, to show that you wish to engage with them at a different level. Since you can do nothing for God, GQF, directly, per se, he has everything, or I consider that he has everything. He sees but he can see your conviction if you selfly give of yourself for others by helping others in your own time without your name, money, or merit, sort of anonymously. Once you have helped your new close friend, GQF, then you can ask for something in return. This is how you should look at GQF God. Once he accepts you as a friend, then you can ask these things, and obviously, that's the way you should look at it. If all you do is get on your knees, ask, and worship all the time, he will never answer. You need to be a doer, not a leech. You need to be a friend. Trust works both ways in a relationship. Gratitude works both ways in a relationship, as in, are you happy to give without expecting anything in return at that time, knowing as a friend, at a later time, they may help you out. Friendship is very much, friends help friends. It's not like you both have an issue at the same time. It's more likely one of you has an issue and the other person helps, and then later maybe this person has an issue and this person helps. You help each other. That's a friendship. And religion is all about ingratitude. You expect something. I've got a problem. I've got a problem. I've got a problem. I've got a problem. Can you do this? 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 And do it your bloody self, mate. That's exactly what is happening with you. Do it your bloody self. If God chooses to make you a friend, this means you are chosen and he will respond to you. It is okay if you are not chosen. Life goes on. He wants life to go on. He doesn't need you. If you wish to be his friend, he'll be his friend. He can be your friend. But there's no requirement for that. Life goes on. You can still change your life and lives of others and around you for the better. What you do not gain is the ability to change some things in the universe. You haven't volunteered to take over that role, the mantle of savior of the universe. You don't. Not everyone is going to be able to do that. Not everyone will want to do that. So don't feel disappointed that way. And I'll come to that perhaps in the next chapter. A question, and yes, that is why the giant question mark is there. It's because there will always be more questions. So I have contemplated, if I volunteered, which is the most benevolent thing you can do to help others, you want to help them enough, but not too much as to do everything for them. Now, if you take that with the concept that, let's say you existed as the first life form and you eliminated all others, you would learn a valuable lesson, that the only end you find is your own end. As there is nothing else, you carry on with no purpose. So the only logical end is one where you constantly help others. Therefore, there is no end. There is no end for you. Logically, benevolence is the answer. Volunteering is not quite the right word, but putting yourself forward with no expectation of others knowing your name or deeds for them is perhaps the greatest form of benevolence. When you have almost nothing to your name except family, and you do this, you are probably a chosen. Now, if I put myself forward to help all others through sheer will of my benevolence, there is only one. There's only one that can match me. I wonder, and that is the question: was I first? For all the things we have done wrong, I like to think there are a few things we have done right. Sign 7. October 2024, the bust on Mars. This is, like a statue. You take the bust of the shoulders, if you like, but the bust was sort of the head. Seen in October 2024 was because NASA disrespected God and but I'm not too concerned about the type of disrespect that, if you like, scientists and physicists and everybody gives me. But I did think it was a little too much, if you like, to go ahead and disrespect someone you know nothing about. I gave GQF honorary personhood to disrespect someone you know nothing about in a manner that was questionable, irrational, and this is from a scientific institute I found unacceptable. Science is certainly about saying, I don't know, and yet they're unwilling to see past their failings. So I conceived of a bust of a great warrior, a gladiator, if you will, as I would conceive of, but I did not know how to put that into words, considering I'd never met them. I allowed GQF to fill in the minutiae. To be seen lying face down, or if you like, half the face in the sand, lying face half in the sand, facing the camera as the rover went past. As one of the Mars rovers, we have currently 2 on the planet at the moment. As I it might be more, but I think there's just 2 running around. So one of the American rovers facing the camera as the rover went past. A warrior of impeccable honour is about as close as I could conceive of. A noble person, an honourable person. To watch over the earth, if you like. I asked it to be placed there a billion years ago, so there'd be a bit of wear and tear on the body. But if you like, he had been there from the beginning of humanity. So from my perspective, his or their, it turned out to be he, as far as I see, it looks like it's he. They end up doing more noble than what they were in their lives. They were, they're honoured as well by someone who did not even know their name. And I thought that was quite a benevolent thing to do. So ideally would have liked to have met this individual. He was a great person, a great man. Not so sure of his deeds, but I was not the one who chose him. I chose the principles and parameters, but I specifically don't know that individual by name, by picture. You know what I mean? GQF God took that, found him, took a bust, and did that. Beautiful. Just simply beautiful. Memorial, if you like, a beautiful tribute to the type of person that he was. Below, I now answer some atheist questions. How did I tell the difference between my internal voice and another internal voice like God speaking to me? So when I can mentally sort of speak, like if I can say pizza in my mind, like that's a pizza in my mind. Now, how do you so when I speak in my mind, I hear my voice. Unless it's a dream or something like that, I can hear other people's voices, and I can recreate music, of course, in my mind and hear other people's voices. But when I'm speaking in my mind, it's my voice. So I hear my voice, as in I know my voice. At that point in time, I was discussing the Tonga volcanic eruption I was going to do, and how I wanted the minimal amount of people to die. Yet I wanted the explosion to be as big as possible, bigger. While discussing this in my head, I think I was in the third day going over it. So I was actually talking about it. This was necessary. We need to do this to prove to people, that I am who I am, and that sort of thing. So on the third day, I was spoken over in my mind, at which point I immediately stopped. So my thoughts stopped. It was a different voice, as in not my voice. It spoke the words "trust in me" without stopping. This has definitely never ever happened before, and definitely not outside. Not an outside voice, as no one was in the house at the time, or anywhere near the house at the time. I was in the lounge, pacing and thinking. Had been in and out, sort of pacing, thinking about it, and going over it in my mind, and talking about it. The voice was very clear, male voice, similar, if not exactly, reminding me of another male person's voice from long ago. The person it reminded me of was the same as a person who used to play Ark with a long topic. And I put in this, obviously, this information may or may not be useful, but I put it in for you. For the team, so in Ark, the multiplayer game, for the team called Police, that's what they were called. We're not police people, but they were called the Police, so we were sort of, that was the idea. We sort of, multiplayer is obviously PPP, so it's all about obviously taking other people out and take you out, but the name of the police is, I'm not sure if there's any relevance anywhere I think it was just a name, basically. I don't know of any associations with that name to any event or something it was supposed to be. No, it was just a name for a team. And when visiting one of the bases, he said, "Look down there over a cliff." So we're going over a cliff, and you obviously Avatar, and you look down, and he pushed me off. So you could have like crossbows and things like that, but I couldn't get any hand, obviously. And he died and respawned, and we had a good laugh. It was very funny. We wear minimal kits in PvP, so the enemy does not get much if they capture you. That type of thing. That is also why I refer to him as a he. He's GQF. He is not human, obviously. It was at that time. I also realised I perhaps could use this new method of communication. I used the communication method in a predictive manner in one of the signs, Jordan Peterson with Tammy Peterson, therefore eliminating schizophrenia as a possibility for this. Since schizophrenia is similar, if not the same, as I just mentioned, the only thing I can think of that was different was I was talking to God at the time. I believe I was right at the part where I was saying in my mind that I would like to minimise human deaths. So I believe it happened while I was saying one of these words, like minimise human death. It's like you get to the beginning and it's and then you stop saying what you were saying in your mind, thinking about and listen. So I believe it happened while saying one of those words. I had said the phrase many, many times before, so I guess he wanted to reassure me and move on to doing it as time was pressing. What does he look like? I'm obviously the only one who knows. He showed me in my mind a way to understand his form. I only saw a small amount of his form because it was connected. I was looking with my eyes open, but seeing the universe as it's spread out from our planet. So I can, not a bright room, but a sort of darkened room. I can visualize things there. I can recreate them in my mind without needing to close my eyes. So I don't, it's not like I don't need to close my eyes and then I can see them. I can literally, if I want to see a galaxy there, I can see a galaxy there, but not. It's like, there but not there type thing. It's hard to explain. It's like it's not like two physical things superimposed. So I don't see it in reality. Like it's just like it's almost like it's part of a mental, like a layer. When you do design and development, you sort of have a a layered system where you have like a base map, and then you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers on top, and each layer you can sort of add them, and you can say I want to see this layer and this layer, and now I want to see this layer and this. So it's like a layer almost, but it's the base reality of what I see remains. It's just that I've got this layer that's sort of there but not there, so to speak. So that's how to think of it. So I only saw it. But seeing the universe. So I was looking with my eyes open, but seeing the universe as it spread out from from the planet Earth. I had looked at star charts earlier, as I recall, so I could recreate the visuals. So I basically in Australia, I was looking at what would from this point, what can you see in the sky? What can you see in the sky from your position? Standing at the curtain that way, going out, sliding door, while I recreated part of the universe in my mind. Basically, the bit you could see, sort of thing. It wasn't perfect. It's just stick a galaxy there, a galaxy there. We'll stick some stars up here, type thing. It was only while I recreated the universe in my mind, and trying to make it as realistic as possible. It's not so. It's not. The galaxy. You can get the light, of course. You got the black hole in the middle, and obviously the light there around it, and mainly in the inner system, if you like, there's more light, but there's planet and the whole thing's going around. So I recreated part of the universe in my mind. It was only a few seconds later, and he took over that image. So basically, it was as if. Let's see if we've written it. It was only a few seconds, and he took over my mind, closed off the lights behind me, and brought everything into sharp detail. As in, when I looked at the galaxy in front to the right of me, a huge black enough to cover perhaps what's that, half the width? Half the width. These things are so small sometimes. So yeah, I mean, it was big, like galaxy. Take the width of it in my mind. It was spinning as a galaxy should. Lots of light around the core. I mean, basically the resolution went from sort of 480p to sort of 4K. You know what I mean? The resolution just went whoa. That literally, I could while I couldn't zoom in, the detail was just like you have no idea. Anyway, back in my mind, it was spinning as a galaxy should. Lots of light around the core, less going out, but a lot of it. And I could not make out any single solar system. I did try and see if I could sort of zoom in, but I couldn't zoom in. I guess there was more important things to do. But it was incredibly beautiful. Shame I could not zoom in, but I had more important things to do. To view, he started, so his body, corporeal form, if you like. He was right down at the sort of bottom right as I looked out, and it was like stars everywhere, and it was like down there to the right. So he started from a well-lit circular portal. Yeah, so the galaxy was like at least that. The portal was probably, maybe that big by comparison. Yeah, galaxy that big. Yeah, so the portal would be bigger than the solar system. Or would it? No. So yeah, a portal much bigger. The solar systems would be like a dot. the light dots to the galaxy. It was like, but the portal was quite big. It probably to obviously signify, so I could see it essentially, light coming around the ring, because obviously he was coming through it. I could not make any solar system. Stars I see all them spewing out at considerable speed. So yeah, this grey form. If cloud, if you like, but form, gas is the closest thing I can think of, like a cloud type form. It expands forth from the portal. As it gets bigger and bigger, it races across the front of the galaxy. It takes several seconds, so I'm watching it coming out, and across the front of the galaxy, just underneath, if you like, the centre, but the galaxy was sort of tilted slightly, as I recall. So coming across, getting near the left edge of the galaxy, he turns to face me, gaining in size, obviously perspective, and coming directly at me. So he came across, and I was contemplating what's going to happen, you know, as he gets, is he going to turn to me? So he obviously did. We got past the galaxy, so come past the galaxy, so I could still see like half the galaxy at least, let's say. As he was coming across it, taking several seconds, and he turns to me, and I was like, holy shit, type thing. You know, without saying that. But he turns to face me, gaining size and coming directly at me until I bend back with the enormity and intensity. So I'm like literally going like this. Because it's just getting bigger and bigger towards me, and obviously judging distance is not so hard. It's like, how big do you want him, like you? And it's like, so I was like, you know, he's getting pretty damn big. Yeah, so the orbit intensity approach. So as I was leaning back, so obviously the gesture is, you know, as he gets bigger, it's like, you know, I'm just getting further and further back as he gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But he stops pretty much instantly. As you know, from my perspective, I was like, man, he stops. He turns to so he stops at that front round. So everything is gaining more details as it comes towards me. And the rounded face, so it's like a rounded face, probably about that size, really. Yeah. Face min size, coming, yeah. With two eyes that are themselves galaxies. So he has eyes for galaxies that are rotating as galaxies, that are literally, I can see as galaxies, as eyes. No mouth, no nose, no other features apart from a musculature, which I must have written here. I noticed he had muscles running down the side, perhaps only 8 on the side that I could see. So in terms of muscular facade, as in this cloud had muscles, like bums, running down the one side I could see. The light from my room had all gone. The light was literally the universe was providing its own light, so the star systems and the galaxy there it was emitting light enough to see these like backlight. So I stood looking up. I cared not for what was behind me. The rest of me, I just watching what the hell's going on in front. You know, I'm looking literally as I come across. I'm looking at it. Obviously, trying to can I zoom into a solar system while I know he's doing something like. But I come back. I couldn't. I come back, and you know he's coming across quite fast. I mean, I'm like, holy shit. You know. And then as it comes towards me, I'm like, you know, coming. so he gets there, these two fucking galaxies burning there as for eyes, and down the side, because it was I could see down the side. It's like the face was smaller than the body, if you like. So I could see musculature, and this was more defined. So as he sort of stopped, I could see that the musculature was either I was focusing on the musculature, or the musculature became more defined, if you like. The clouds took on a sort of a muscle look, and I was funny. So I stood looking at. I cared not for what was behind me. I fixated forward and analysed the form from portal to muscles to eyes, and yes. So knowing that he had no mouth clearly indicated that there was no need to speak. So this is definitely. So I understood this, of course, you know. Not that I had any questions. Not that likely he may answer, but more than likely not. But the obvious implication of no mouth meant, now's not the time to speak, either side. So I fixated forward, analysed the form, muscles to eyes, and looked at the god squarely. And then after a while of taking it in, I sort of stepped back and moved away and turned away, back into the real world, if you like. I did not need to say anything, and there was nothing that came to mind to say. There's no point just standing there and sort of questions. It's like, this is a moment, a very clear moment of exchange. Exchange of life looks between life forms. I'd met God GQF face to face. I mean, literally, if you got any closer, I would have been leaning back and fallen over type thing. Or as close as an immortal form in these dimensions could see and comprehend. This is in 2023, maybe 2022, and this is like a year after the with Iran. So you can work out exactly the time date, the year. So a year after that woman with a hijab or whatever was executed and beaten to the point where she died. And there were riots and things like this. And the reason why I decided to look into my mind to see if I could see whether he would show me his form, if you like, is because I knew that because I couldn't see him, the being may not be in, dimensionally may be in a dimension that can interact with our space-time, but he's just a different form of being. So there's no point me going, I just thought maybe he's larger, like a dimension, like a three-dimension is bigger than a two-dimensional being is bigger than one dimension, so maybe his dimensional size is bigger. So I decided to put myself in like a situation where it's like the universe, and see if he could create a form. Because there's no point everyone thinks, oh, he's just going to come down and just like look like a human. It's like that's a very, very unusual way of thinking things for a life form that is significantly more powerful. Like, if you expect him to have created the universe, from my perspective, he's going to be significantly bigger. I mean, even that thought itself is a bit bizarre. Why is something bigger to do it? Even it could be smaller. But that'll confuse you. But yeah, I thought maybe he could put together a mental image, and he did. But the main, those the muscles. He showed the muscles. Which is a sense of humour. Shows a sense of humour. Like I've got a muscle. Literally, a bump. It's an actual bump, like a bulge. This is funny because obviously there's no need. There's no mental representation. It's like the guy would go, I've got muscles. He's like, I've got more. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. What a great sense of humour. What a great sense of humour. It's something I would definitely do. He's a little bit of messing with people, without saying anything. So he's very, very much evidence-based, very much, I'll show you, so you can obviously understand in your language, So which God is he? Nothing to do with religion, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, no religion at all. When will you get it through, when will people out there get it through their thick heads They should look at him as a friend, not something that should be worshipped. Then you'll see that asking a friend for a little help can happen. Now, answer why should he be friends with you? What makes you a great friend? As to which God, if you're worthy enough of contacting him, he will be your friend. Not sure about the rest of the species, but I'm working on that. He seems to be up for some assistance through the chosen person, so sometimes I just write stuff down and I'm like, I can't remember why I wrote it. But is he the God of the universe? Is he the God of this species? Is he the God of all species? And I did a little test, only maybe a few years ago, where literally I said, I didn't like the parasitic side of the insect world. So this parasitic side of the insect world, taking, literally eating other insects alive. Like an alien thing where this poor insect is while he's alive and babies come out. So I basically there was a wasp that suddenly got a zzz and fell down in front of me. So I stepped on it and said, that's what I think of the parasitic side. That's my take on that. I'm not terribly happy. I know it's there. I don't like it, but I wasn't going to eliminate all parasites in the world. But I know it's there. I wish to show my contempt for the parasitic side of things. And a bit later the same day, I did ask if what he thought, and then another wasp was like, bzz, and it fell down in front of me. It's like, so you're the same, and I crushed it. So, we think very similarly, as you'd expect. So he's a multidimensional being. He can go back in time and make changes. The power he has shown over the many signs, I would say that he is the proverbial God as we like to understand it. And he created the universe. At the very least, I would surmise he created a universe. Can create a universe, so that, leaves a little bit of gap, because I don't have the knowledge if he did create the universe. I'm not a deity myself. I'm a human. Yeah, I'd best say mostly, but no, sign 8. So 2024, saving President Donald Trump from sniper. So there was another sniper attempt after. There's probably sniper attempts before, but so I knew a Democrat, and I knew this one was going to succeed. That's the main issue. I knew the Democrats might encourage an individual to seek out and shoot Donald Trump. And this is whilst I was contemplating on the toilet, as I recall, and attempted to explain this and speak to God about it while on toilet, but I don't want to do that, so I waited until it was out. The bullets would only miss through, though he was cheated out of the. So the bullets would only miss. So I made some stipulations around this. So he would survive this attempt if he was cheated out of the previous election. If the people actually wanted him. So if he was cheated out of the previous election by the Democrats and their dirty dealings, corruption, I'm quite happy that I'm proof enough to me that he was cheated out of it, which is why I was happy to put that as a stipulation. But it cannot be easily proved with the system against him, you see, behind closed doors. The only person who has access behind closed doors is you-know-who. So the Democrats' disgusting behaviour could never be obfuscated from God. He sees all and knows all, and before him I judged Donald Trump. Then while I was off the toilet, I asked for this for this to happen. So the bullets to miss, one to go through the ear to show this was real, had to be I discussed on the toilet whether it was, which bullet should be the one that hit him through the ear, and I thought the first one, because obviously the person won't be moving as much, probably want to be running or out of the way after the first bullet, but that was the idea with the first bullet. To show it was real, and someone had to die. Obviously, I asked, due to the bullet angles, if someone had to die, if they were, due to the angles in the crowd, because there's lots and lots of people. That a good man protecting his family was hit, so it was something it would be something he would, without hesitation, do for his family, protect them at all costs. I saw no point in deliberately putting in a bad person in that position. Bad people are not worth my time. I'm not going to help their family. One more bad person, it's like the parasitic wasp. Killing one bad person is not really going to change the world, so it's meaningless. But helping out a good family, that will make a change to the world, a very positive change to the world. So it may be unusual for you to understand what benevolence is, but there you go, a little bit of benevolence for you. As such, the man's sacrifice for his family, for all the people there, would be repaid. His family would be taken care of. The judgment was Donald Trump, the judgment was cheated out of the second term by rot and corruption. He got to live, and now he can go after the rot and corruption and rip it out root and stem. So that was with an AR-15. So these details, just what I've read. So AR-15s, about 8 shots were fired, 3 whilst he was sort of just standing there. And then more while he was moving, with a red dot sight. So basically 150 meters AR-15 is lethal range. Lethal range is like 2 or 3 times that, and with a red dot sight, I could easily hit someone with an iron sights at that 150 meters. So red dot sight, many shots. It's just, I don't understand why everyone doesn't go, this doesn't add up, but fair enough. They may think the world's crazy. Well, crazy it is. Everybody's crazy. Right, President Trump is under protection of, for his term, no assassination attempt will succeed. They will all be discovered. Is one of the things. So it's not. So the next ones would not be. I'm not going to even deviate any bullets. It's just that the evidence would be found out. And the reason why I did not talk to the president in my mind is because I decided to talk to the man that would die, and obviously, I suppose I could have talked to both at the same time. Multi-talented, but I decided to talk to the man whilst this was happening, because obviously it might be distracting to Donald Trump perhaps whilst someone's shooting at him. But I don't recall if I did or didn't. I don't think I did speak to Donald. But I spoke to the man. I can't remember the exact words, but and they were obviously private and personal. But it would have started out, hello. I'm fully aware I told him, so hello, do not be afraid. I am, in this instance, I gave my name, Matthew Groom, the chosen of God. And obviously explained that the family were taken care of. I'm sorry for what happened. It was necessary. So I had to explain it was necessary for the greater good. Now some questions answered about what I am. Do you require merit for the position of chosen of God? Yes. Was I the one who selected me? No. Although I volunteered later as a gesture of goodwill. Do I have unlimited power? No, I have no power. I'm human. Have I asked for actions that require a power beyond human capabilities and our four-dimensional space-time understanding to be accomplished? Yes. Have I ever had control over the life or death for anyone and used it subject to approval? Yes. Multiple times. Am I convinced of a difference between an alien and a deity? Yes. What is that difference? So the deity able to create, start a universe, the manner in application of that power is different than I can conceive of an alien doing. He has cured cancer, but seems unwilling to give the cure for cancer, as is as in unwilling to do all the work for us. How did it start? When I was about 6, I saw something in the universe from a picture that I thought was not random. I considered if he were real, he was probably watching everything, so I had to think about this in an obfuscating manner. I also considered I was too young at the time, so I waited. At 7, I did a test to see if we were in a simulation and thought I had been discovered. Like 6 months into the testing, sort of thing. No, it would have been a bit more, but I think it was about 6 months into testing. Because we had a few months to put the test together. So it would have been about 9 months after I sort of conceived of it. At 8, I thought I would go full bore and do something only a deity would do, so I asked if I was going to be the Messiah when I was older for a sign to occur, and it did. I'm not going to talk about that sign. Maybe when I'm older. Maybe not. I talked to him maybe in my mind, maybe out loud, through the years after that, and maybe once every other year or so. So not often for a while. When did I reassess the situation? Really take charge and determine authenticity. In university, second year, then I decided to wait a decade to try again and see if anything changed, reevaluate and repeat. After this decade-long hiatus, what changed? I decided that considering his power, he could read our minds. This is going back to sort of when I was 7, and when I was contemplating if I was being discovered. So I conceived of the fact that he would have to have power beyond my understanding at that time, which is why one needs to wait. Power beyond my understanding. Thought of so he could. I decided, considering the power, he could read our minds. Anyway, I thought it would be a gesture of benevolence if I specifically stated aloud that he could read my mind, and this was actually after that. So this was probably 5-6 years ago. When I started doing no, because that was 2019. Then it was a bit later, so it was probably 2020, 21, something like that. No, it would be because I decided that I wouldn't know the answer for Jordan Peterson, so I had to have another one start small. So it might have been 2020, maybe into 2019. I decided that you could remind me. These days, I generally try to separate personal activities with actual requests by putting a finger to my head, and then speaking in my mind, because I don't want to speak while I'm on the toilet, even though he is listening at all times to me. I don't, I trust me, he knows everything about all life forms, and every personal thing you could possibly do is, he doesn't care. In that sense, he just understands. This is how you, as a life form, you need to poop. You need to pee. You need to have sex. So all these personal interactions are, considered, normal. But from my perspective, to him, I sort of consider, the respect as, I wouldn't want to be talking to someone else if I was on the toilet unless I absolutely had to. It's not like you're having sex and someone else is in the room and you're like, tomorrow we're going to be doing this. It's like, no, there's some sort of decency, if you like. But I try to, even though it's it's meaningless, but decency. Maybe I'm just crazy. It's all crazy. I just talk about things and go over what has happened and what it means, and so these days, whether I'm interpreting anything in a specific way that can be interpreted in a different way, just trying to understand really. He chooses to answer you with evidence. The signs you asked for, I've left signs for you to understand he is real. Do I think I received a reward or a prize? No. I consider a reward or a prize to be a one-off. This is an ongoing event, so very much more than a prize or reward. I've nothing to compare it to, so I consider it more of a position, a status that I've achieved, friendship. What do you call it? It's just friendship. It's not even a position, perhaps. But it's so unusual that how do you look at it? It's the giant. I'm the giant cock. COQ, chosen of God, chosen. If it's difficult for me, trust me, it's difficult for you to understand. But I'm trying to, explain it as best as I can. So I think of it more of a position, a status that I've reached that allows me this capability whenever I can think of something useful to help humanity with. And it is granted approved. I look at it as a close friendship. Some might say too close, as he knows all I know at all times. So I might just want to... so do I feel him? Like, is he... I mean, it's difficult because the last time I was pre-chosen that I knew of would have been when I was so young. So I don't know. But there is a feeling, I have a feeling throughout my whole body, like, not a vibration, but maybe I'm just overreacting. But it's, let's just eliminate that. So it's not, I think it's just, when I say vibration, it's just more of a feeling that, I know he's there. So maybe my body's sort of psychologically reacting. There's no actual, I'm not, but it's, I just know he's there everywhere all the time, and certainly knows everything I'm saying at all times, what I'm doing, what's happening to me, everything that's happening through me in the world, he has full, complete knowledge of that at all times. Fair enough. That's what I volunteered for, if you like. So I understand all of this. Anyway, sign 9. I did ask for the entire Muslim religion to be wiped from the planet, every man, woman, and child. Now, there is a reference here. So God did not like that. It clouded my mind. Twice. Deliberately showed me that he was not fond of this idea. The reason being, of course, is that if there is a better way, a carrot, then it should be pursued. The stick only ends up being used again and again and again. It's not the best tool. I've mentioned that the kind of example I would be setting if I just kill, what kind of example would I be setting if I just kill people? The reason I contemplated this is it was written in Judaism, I'm not sure specifically, but I noticed a number of the Jews stating that I would just come and remove all the Muslims, click finger and they're gone. I do not think for a second that was correct, but I have made changes, you see, in the past 2 books, so it's conceivable that I made a change in the future, even though I don't think I would, but because so much is on the line, I cannot, too much is on the line. So I decided to see if this was, even knowing this is wrong, I decided to ask. I mean, it will get rid of part of the problem, But it doesn't get rid of the problem as such. It doesn't get rid of religion, but it postpones the inevitable to perhaps another chosen. So I did not think for a second this book was right about anything, the Torah, Talmud, type of thing. However, I had to concede that maybe this part could be correct and would save humanity. It is a way to save humanity, however, it is not the carrot. As I say, there's so much at stake. This may help you become a chosen. I have defended myself and others. Type thing. Actually, just back. GQF wants to do beautiful things. He has stayed away from wiping out entire religions. This means he believes there is better ways. I agree the carrot should be able to win over the stick, but sometimes working out what the carrot is, where to put it, is hard. The stick only solves the problem for a while, and then you have to keep using the stick again. Humility. You should have this quality. There is no such thing as perfection, but you'll certainly know when to use humility, when to use psychology, when to have fun, and when to be serious. Your glass must start, your glass as in your cup, must start completely empty. Wanting to know the truth is not enough, since everyone will want to tell you their truth. But it will not be the truth. Only this book from a true Messiah can guide you, or you must guide yourself, avoiding religion. The hard road has been rewarding for me, but I was intellectually capable of seeing it. So the next chosen may, if they can struggle through and get there themselves. I'm just making an attempt, if you like, to put what I know into a book, into words that maybe will help. As a chosen, you do not get full control of the universe. You are allowed to have signs granted that can be seen within the universe. I did want to show I was not crazy, the sun, others for other people. GQF has performed actions in real time, as in moment to moment in your time frame. Usually, however, it's taken many months of thinking of useful things and then them being approved. I can understand why, of course. We humans tend to change our opinions, requirements, so it's important to have a definitive request with a reason. I had 4 such signs, at least, that were in real time, as in happening there and then, that I recall, as in, literally the request is going to come forward very shortly thereafter. We're talking within, if not immediate, then certainly within days. One of them was the Tonga volcano, to show the religions that was real. A witness gate opening, which I'll speak about. Another when I was 8, which I won't speak about. That was instant. And being heated twice when I was at university, so that was instant as well. Your family will have a hard time grasping you on the chosen. They will be unsure. It is a big jump from human to a personal favourite of God or a friend of God, and people will not be able to make that step easily. Changes everything about what they know. Some changes are really that big, too big for some. People can be somewhat petty. To ask to be healed as soon as you tell them you are the Messiah. They have their concerns and they do not know the greater picture. So while it is a little petty to you, for them it could mean everything, so mobility, etc. It will be difficult knowing so many people are hurting in so many ways, but you must stick with the path you have chosen. Mine is helping out all of humanity, which means as a whole. If I stop to help every single person, I will run out of time to help them all in a greater way. We have some hard choices to make, and I've certainly helped a few along the way. In the previous sign, the giant question mark, I had spent an entire year contemplating whether I should enter the war in Iran. A young woman was killed for simply having a lowered veil over the head. The veil in Islam means Mary, Mother of Jesus, I believe. The veil is complete nonsense. I contemplated whether I should ask the immortality such that I can just go and fight and obviously win on that side and show all sides the truth. At the end, I sort of going through this thought, and said to GQF, after consideration, that was not likely to happen, simply because I could be cut into little pieces and each piece kept alive and tortured. The words I spoke were close to this: hello, GQF, if you are not willing to grant immortality, then what about a giant question mark in space the size of a galaxy? Then went through where to place it next to the oldest known galaxy in the universe. Its intensity really bright, as in brighter, 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 and so on. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You need to be, I'm proud of other people's accomplishments, so being proud of other people's accomplishments is good. Let's say everyone, as long as I'm not using drugs. Let's say everyone, child and adult, has gamed the system for their advantage at some point. Children will be children, adults without guidance and purpose, and all they've just lost their way are just going to follow whatever keeps them alive, I guess. Humans are not perfect after all. Cheating, drugs and amateur sports takes us a step further, in that if you have an intent to continue to put others at disadvantage, if you intend to continue to place others at a disadvantage so you can win, or for prize money, fame, attention, self-gratification, I do not respect this, is not right. Be respectful to others. That may mean waiting behind a gate until you are allowed to enter. Step forward, volunteer to be the chosen of God. It is all too easy to sit back and ask for someone else to do it for you. When are you going to step up and realise perhaps you are the right person for this? This is a very difficult path, but you are definitely the one who will think through everything to work out the truth. Unless you have other restrictive demands on you, if you can do it, volunteer for it. If you cannot trust your memory, then what can you trust? I would rather not alter your memory. Freedom and free will is predicated on the concept of you are you. If I change you, then there is an important reason, and selflessness is likely to be the case, but I don't really want to. And needs to be prefer alternatives. God is in the living world, not in the dream world, and most likely not after you die either. You can interact with God if you are chosen whilst you are alive. If he does not want to interact with you when you're alive, what makes you think he wants to interact with you when you are dead? Your death does not make you any more worthy of being his friend. This is a big lie from religion, of course. The greatest character is likely to be the smallest gesture. I find it remarkable that I succeeded even now. I would not imagine an alien with no passing interest of another's planet would even care so much as this entity has. It really is as if he created a universe, cares, and left a way to be contacted and wants to help. Never give up. There was a time after God revealed himself to me when I had this really acute headache. I get headaches so rarely that you could measure the occurrence rate in decades, like one a decade or something. So this was a throbbing that was different, like perhaps a stroke. I asked GQF if I was dying, and he immediately appeared in my mind, and so I continued. If I am dying, then I would like my last sign to be that every species should have the chance of a chosen. That could be the most benevolent thing I could do if I was about to die. If I did not die, and it was just a headache. A really bad, intense, like a blood vessel in my brain exploding, throbbing headache. So you see, if you are the Messiah, God comes to you if you think you are dying. I'm not sure what would happen if it was an instant, but I assume he would be there, because time is irrelevant. Whether this constitutes that you will be taken, lifted up to join God or see his realm, I do not know, but I find having a real answer to this question is great. The lesson being, at the point of death, if God likes you, is your friend, he will come. Whether that means there is something after death for the chosen, I do not know. I would have to tell you after I die. Yes. God is about being a shining example of righteousness to others. Try to help as many as you can in your way. You should not kill people if there are alternatives. I tell myself, what example would I be setting if I did that? This does not mean you cannot defend yourself or others. As regards sex marriage, I remained faithful to my wife while we were married and together. I loved sport, I loved computers, and helped others with those activities, and got as far as I could with those activities. I was as gracious as I could be. Nothing comes to you except from others down the line, so be gracious. Though at times I will admit I've lost my composure, and there's nothing wrong with being angry. Some now and again. Already. My or the God is not the God of religion, therefore you do not have the authority to write any book about my God, the God. You do not know my God, the God. Only the chosen of God, the Messiahs, are allowed as they are selected by God himself. Therefore they know him, have seen him, have heard his voice. If you have neither seen him, heard his voice, or seen his name, then you are not worthy. What makes you think you are worthy to write anything about him? Nothing you write is valid, wanted, real, or correct, unless it comes from a Messiah, a chosen of God. Yeah. You have to know what you're talking about, basically. I've asked myself whether there is a grand plan afoot, and if I just play a part. In actuality, I'm just trying to work out the best way to save humanity. To give you all a nice, happy future with a little less stress than everyone wanting to kill each other in my name, the Messiah, or God's name. Even though you do not know or believe who the real Messiah is, me, or who the real God is, GQF, the lesson being that the benevolent strong like helping the weak, even if you do not know our name. Though the term strong and weak here is not a great usage of the words. There is never a great way to say, the able help the unable. Hence the difference between teaching and a chosen. A teacher is paid to teach, a chosen is different. So here, look, if I opened the box of whoop-ass at my disposal that I'm fully 100% aware of, you would not want that. And the only reason I do not is it is easy to go too far, too quickly down a path where no one is left to disagree. The hard way is slow, steady, bumps, negotiation. The hard way is preferred. The easy way is there is no one left to say no. And I would just end up talking to myself. Admittedly, that would be fun for a while, but a little banter never hurt anyone. So, yes, the amount of it's easy to talk and say, God can do this, God can do that. How powerful is God? And the answer is just yes, And if I asked him for something that was granted, then the answer would just be yes. Unlimited, anything, literally anything. I wanted, literally anything God wanted. So you understand the complexities. I hope you understand the complexities there. What really are we after? What deep down, what we can easily make it like that, but we choose not to. So what are we really about? You see, that's what you've got to understand. But the benevolent side of it. You have in this book the words of a true chosen of God. There are to be no others writing books or interpretation of what I write. Wait until the next chosen of God, Messiah, arrives, and they can write their own book on the path. Those that teach religions, imams, priests, popes, rabbis, anyone in that capacity is false. All these words in this book are for those that wish to follow the path and be chosen. They will understand just fine and do not need to be taught. Yeah, so I'm not interested in people doing interpretations. If I've missed something out, just wait. Because this book is for the chosen. People want to be chosen. So if you can't work out these things, then you're never going to be a chosen. It's just probably, you have to do things yourself, work it out yourself. Honesty, try harder. Sincerity, try harder. Patience, try harder. Selflessness, try harder. Try not to lie. If you do not remember something correctly, it's okay. You're only human. You just I don't remember, or if you remember it correctly and you say it and you're not sure, we're not perfect. You're not deliberately going out to lie. You know, you're not lying after lying after lying. There's a big difference. You know, if you absentmindedly forget something or remember it incorrectly, and then later on you go, oh, that wasn't right. You know, oh, damn, I'm not going to see him again. You know, he'll think I'm a blithering idiot. But you know, you're not deliberately going out and lying. You're trying your best to be consistent and truthful. You know, within the environment, the world is very competitive, and you can't be a pushover. If people see you as a pushover, you're going to be pushed over. So it's a fine line, if you like. You've got to survive. Sarcasm comedy is fine and useful. I do not believe in any religious rituals or religious sacrifices or anything to do with God in this manner. Religion is so evil. Anyway, be worthy before attempting to ask God anything, and I wear work clothes for work and smart casual clothes when enjoying my free time. You know, so you can wear what clothes you like. I'm just explaining what I wear. You know, what you enjoy wearing. But you know, it has no significance to the garb I wear. It doesn't, you know, I don't go out. You know, do I support teams and wear their stuff, or have I? Not as often as if I have. You know, it would be a rarity. I have got T-shirts and bought T-shirts too. You know, of bands and things, but yes, but I don't generally wear emblematic. You know, where I'm trying to sell something to people. No. Try not to be insulted by images, offended by insults or images. Offensive remarks happen. If you can't take a little bloody nose, then you're not on the path. When things threaten your life, that is different. So yeah, life is complicated. You know, it's a competitive world. Evolution is real. Natural selection is real. Change. Can you change? Do you wish to be on the path to God? Can you look at yourself and want to find where you are wrong? As a child, you are taught. As an adult, you have the chance to for your own destiny. Look at yourself, find your flaws, find where you are wrong, accept that you're wrong, and try again. So just fixing yourself. Try again. When you fail, learn from it and try again until you have exhausted every chance, every avenue. Yeah, you've just got to, the problem is everybody around you will try and mould you into their image. And there are a lot of bad actors out there. So finding the bad parts of you and correcting them. You know, I'm sorry, I had many, you know, in work as an employee, got bad habits from off by other people, you know, wrong ways to do things. So, and there came a time as I grew up, so to speak, and I worked these things out and said, hang on a minute, all these things these people had said and I was doing, these are wrong. And I started doing the right things, and it took months to, you know, because the brain has sort of learned that you do it this way, but that's wrong, and I should do it this way. So you months of like the brain sort of double takes, you know, no, I'll do it right, no, I'll do it right, no, I'll do it right, until actually after many months that starts becoming being right starts becoming predominant. But many things you wonder, it's like, was my life just a lie? Sometimes it's just all lies from everyone, but you have to work it out. And so the answer is probably most of your life is an entire lie, but you can fix it. Just because something is in a book does not make it right. Books by their very existence do not tell you everything. Therefore, if someone says this book contains all of God's will, you'll know them to be lying. If they say this book contains everything you'll ever need, they are lying. This book is still alive, but was written by a chosen of God. This does not mean I have my entire life story in here and you should follow it to the letter to ascend, succeed. Your story will be replete with goodness, graciousness and humility, and if God judges you worthy, your journey will be starting. Yeah. And I hope you have an enjoyable journey. I have never converted anyone, nor am I interested in converting people. If people wish to learn about God GQF, they can learn from me. I'm putting this down. It doesn't mean I'm going out and sort of, shooting people like the Muslims do. If you don't follow what I say, I'm going to kill you. No. And the Christians are like, battering people's doors down. Well, they're not, but I guess in the old days they used to. You get groups going around doing letter drops, trying to speak to you and all that, trying to convert you and whatever. But I'm sure it's much worse in other countries than it is here, or that I've come across. I'm fairly certain. If you wish to learn about God GQF, then you can learn from me. However, the predicament I am in is slightly different to you. People are killing others in my name and God's name, so it has gone beyond simple choice to insult. Constantly insulting. I'm about stopping the killing and removing the cause of the killing, which is religion. Islam, with its conversion by beheading, is the ultimate insult. I realised when I was a child of 8 I needed to grow up more and become an adult, be mentally more aware of everything before making further decisions. Parents should be making decisions for their children. Better decisions are made with sound scientific reasoning. Explaining to those who wish to listen that you are the chosen of God is easy, whether they accept it is another thing. God does not tell me to worship or pray. I do not worship God or anyone. I respect that God exists, whatever God is. A multidimensional being. I respect every place in this world. Apart from that, I get on with life. Do you spend your life thanking your boss you have a job? I do not pray, nor should people pray to me. If you worship or pray, you are wasting time you could have spent on your life and perhaps pursuit of being chosen. So I don't. So when your friend, I'm. You could say, people will probably say, "Oh, you're praying, you're asking for something from God," but you must remember that it's not that. It may appear in words, if you like, to be that, praying's asking for something or whatever, but in reality, you're just speaking to a friend. You're just asking for a friend's help. And the friend can decline, of course, but you're not expecting, you know what I mean? It's not demands, not endless. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. It's like we ask something, either happens, doesn't happen. Then we take a moment and conceive of what we did wrong if it didn't. And then we progress and say, okay, there's another way to help. We'll try this, and if it happens, you're going, yes, you see, this is great. This is useful. Some evidence. We're on the right path. So it's the path. So it's part of the path. So you with your friend, you're travelling a path, evaluating every time, evaluating what's going on. So it's very different to what you would consider praying. Praying is a meaningless religious concept. There is no reason for you to use my name before God, Matthew Groom, but I will not stop you. By using my name, you best be an honest, honourable person. Names have no power, but and God comes first. If you wish to write about Him, then you should know Him. There are no prophets. As a chosen, we can change history. We can add things however we wish to in the books. In the past, we can change the past however we want. We can control what is written. We add things. I don't want to, rewrite the dictionary. No, you just change little things. They'll help. You see, but I hardly want to change religious books. Then it makes them have an element of truth, and unless that is helpful, there is no point. So, but I have. I've put my name in several books in the past, Groom, so to ease religious people into a better future. But I'm not going to, it's from my perspective, crazy book. I'm trying to change the future, but if I just change everything, then I'm not, there's no challenge. So it's not that you want a challenge, but it's it's hard to explain. Um, As regards afterlife, I'm not sure for the chosen of God whether this is true or not, since God did come to me when I thought I might be dying. There would be no need to come to me if there was nothing for a chosen. I see no need for comfort, so maybe the chosen are different. So I don't know. Of course, I have. I would very much like to do things in a different capacity, but it's something I may discuss in more depth some other time. There is a test on earth that you need to pass if you wish to be chosen. So you've got to be worthy. If you're not worthy of God on earth while alive, you're not worthy of God. To be benevolent for your entire life is difficult, and it is not what you think it to mean. Doing the right thing is subjective, so you have to choose what is right. Only a true chosen will know what is right well in advance of it happening. So you discuss it with yourself. It's like, do I select a good person to die? Do I select a bad person to die? Why would I select a bad person? I don't give a shit about bad people. But one less bad person though. Let's just get targets out and so start knocking off bad people. But when you think about it, it's like, if the good person, there's so much love and care for this good person and their family that they die, they do so much for their family that you are now going to do so much for them. Difficult decisions, very, very, very difficult decisions to make, because people will die, you see, regardless of you wanting to. Everybody dies. So yeah, it's understanding on an incredibly different level. I give freely of my knowledge and insights as well as much as is possible while not affecting my health for the betterment of mankind. This understanding, it's going to be difficult for you to understand benevolence, but I'll keep going. I try to eat a healthy, balanced diet. I have no sacred animals or plants. Nor do I bless or sanctify things. This is religion, stupidity from religion. I eat pork, pigs, beef, cows. You have to be pragmatic in this regard. Without humans, they would be staying on this planet when we reach for the stars. There may come a time when all we need is electricity, but today is not that day. Do not lose your humanity as you leave your meaty body behind. That side of existence is only for the mentally strongest of people. As a human, you can eat all, including each other, for survival, though survival is not always necessary. You've got to be pragmatic. So we do, as a species, take care of other species. If we didn't eat them, they wouldn't be alive. There would be no need for them. So a wild version or a feral version of them would exist, but the human version, if you like, may unless there's alternative, say organs or something. I see no reason why people would just keep them alive and lose money keeping them alive. So you can imagine that you've got to be somewhat pragmatic, that we'll take them with us when we leave for the stars. But there will come a time where we leave them on the planet or a planet, and off they go and do their thing until perhaps they can evolve to be more than what they are. Probably be an interesting fossil record looking back for them. I do not believe God wants me to do everything for you. I've never fasted as such, except through medical necessity or just not hungry, though I have missed meals, reduced consumption or increased exercise to lose weight. I support New Zealand in rugby when I was actively playing the sport, as they played the same way I did. You should be flexible in your sport. If someone plays better in a game that was outstanding, then you can support the winner. Change your sides. They earned it. Hence, when France defeated New Zealand in epic World Cup final or semi-final, whatever, quarterfinal, whatever it is. We put our support in for France because, and obviously we're British, we put our support in for France because it was just unbelievable that they were defeating New Zealand. It was an epic World Cup game, and just blown away how well they played, blown away, and they were the hosts, as I recall. Yes, nice joke for you. Dying is on my list, just not at the top. So I've always known I was going to die ever since I was a young boy. Somewhat sort of brings life into perspective for you, doesn't it? Really, when you're young, you're going to die. What are you going to do about it? Yes. Music, I love music, classical, heavy metal, rock and roll, punk, some synth, which is synthesizers, synth rock. Anyone denying music through some religious reason is disgusting. Reading religion is less than 1,000% of my knowledge, as it is nonsense. Reading made up nonsense does not help me much. People justifying books by this and this nonsense. It's like if it's wrong. If it's written by people that don't actually know what they're talking about, then you've got incorrect facts trying to justify incorrect facts, and you just go around in it's tautology of nonsense. So there's nothing there. Nothing in religion is going to be of use to you, apart from just familiarising yourself with the religion. And of course, you can insert and change any part of that, which I have done. But for the most part, I'm not going to change the whole damn nonsense. Some sort of freedom and free will is useful, as they say. Compared to many, I'm poor. Compared to many, I'm rich. It is all relative. I have worked hard sometimes, so I can enjoy my free time. Sometimes. For me, knowing I would die when I was very young brought a measure of meaning to my life. As an adult, birthdays were just one year closer to death, and I could use that as a measure of what I achieved in the year. There is a difference to a New Year's resolution, which I do not do, which is saying I am hoping to do this in the future. I hope to get this done. For me, the end of a year was all about what I've done. So my birthday just a few months ago, it was like, what have I done in that previous year? And I tried to get a paper out, got it out on my birthday. So I spent several months doing that, and it was good. But then I realised what I published on my birthday, because it's the paper is the General Theory of Relativity. The General Theory of Artificial Intelligence, Part 3, and obviously the General Intelligence, Part 1, 2, and 3. Trying to bring forth the birth of artificial intelligence, real artificial intelligence, and then of course I realised that surely on my birthday it's the beginning. So I was like, yay! So 2024 was good because I was getting the paper put together. And 2025 is like going to be great as well because it actually published it. It's like very funny. And there's other things here, but the main thing is very, very amusing. You can forget what anyone tells you about God, Q, or the chosen of God, Q, or the Messiah, unless it comes from me. I've already proved, at least to myself, that God Q has done the following. Can read my mind, so I can read your mind. Affect small changes, affect big changes on the planetary scale, affect changes in our solar system, affect changes in space and the universe, far, far away, declared worthiness as a metric that can be measured to be chosen, can choose people and grant their signs, which uncontestably confirm they are chosen. Declared religion has nothing to do with him, understands our language, understands where we are in development, and we need to eat and survive. So, there's a list of things that you can deduce from the inductive evidence. I choose not to receive any of the rules of the game, let's say. Something is to be said about working it all out, but sometimes it would be nice to know at least some of the rules. But then again, I've worked out a lot so far without a rule book, so I continue to piece things together using evidence, inductive reasoning for deductive gain. The reason this is useful is we are two different species, but we can communicate inductively. This is the most basic primitive language. Whoever said aliens would communicate using maths were idiots. That's made for TV nonsense, which some researchers actually believe. I mean, if the only way to contact each other and communicate would be a signal, then I would generally be wary of any signalised communication. Be extremely wary of any signalised communication, because you couldn't know who you're signalling to, and what, and the reasoning for it. So you're taking a lot on sort of guesswork, which I wouldn't think that's a great idea myself. Anyway, when you look back at your life, you may say, yes, I added to the greatness of the world, I did my part. If someone questioned you between 0 and 100, how much have you done to improve the world? Most of you would say a number, small or large, but it would be above 0. Because yes, you may have helped the world here and there, so of course it's above 0. For me, the number is still 0. I'm the chosen of God, the Messiah. For me, it is still 0. I have not accomplished what I wanted to achieve, so I'm no one, nothing. So I want to save all of humanity, all of existence, or perhaps the planet at a minimum, and until that is done, there is 0 next to my name. What I've achieved so far, I do not believe I've done enough to change the world compared to what I can do. So it's a difficult question. Have I added to the world? Have I helped the world? It's the question is it's a question that's not complete. So the answer is still 0 from my perspective. I mean, through life, people will my children did this, and and other people will conceive of that as helping humanity. We invented a new widget, and that's them judging themselves with a number. So when I judge myself with a number, it ends up as 0. The question is still outstanding. I still have not achieved what I wanted to achieve. I may never achieve it, but I'm going to damn well try everything. I believe GodQ has the same reticence about people learning who and what he is. When they learn he is a multidimensional being, it may lose some of the mystique for people, perhaps. You meet your God. People may, they need things to look forward to, I guess. Sign 10. You need things to look forward to. Sign 10. I asked very early on into the Israeli-Hamas war, either late 2023 or 24, that Hamas come out and be specific about, be honest about their objectives. And this is why having lunch with a friend, I believe it was given. I'm fairly sure it was given. I'm reasonably certain. Reasonably certain. Something along the lines of, wouldn't it be nice if they came out and spoke truthfully about their intentions to the world? What transpired is they admitted in a video release they would carry out another October 7th attack as soon as they were able to, and they would not rest or stop until Israel was no more. And this is a very important lesson about Islam. They only want to lie to you, kill you, convert you, and stop you from leaving. I will put this as a sign, as it happened within at most a week of the request. This might well be a coincidence, but the requested action occurred exactly as it requested. I can't be certain. Remember if it happened the next day or a few days later. I think it was perhaps almost a week later. Within a week, maybe, yes, I can't remember, be specific and remember, but at least a few days later. From here, I give lessons on where I would like to see the world go. Men and women have an equivalence, not the same, but two halves of the same piece, same coin if you like. You can think of men and women as equals with differences. As such, when I speak, I would speak to both men and women together. No wife-husband beating, no raping, no person has any rights to physically harm any woman or man based on what clothing they do or do not wear. Government and religion must be separate. People need to have free will. Governments will not have any religious dogmas in them. You have around 30,000 days to live. Each day you could look at it and take a moment, perhaps sometime while walking, to just enjoy the world. Everything around you, if it rains, you should look out, around and enjoy it. If it is sunny, you should look up, around and enjoy it. No harm should come to people under free speech. Free speech is not a tool for harm. Free speech is the opposite of religion. Religion has no free speech. Free speech means you are, as a person, have no restrictions on anything you can say about any topic. It usually also goes hand in hand with what you say or how you say it. And religion restricts you to saying only what the religion tells you to say and to do what the religion tells you. So in the religious book, it says this. Therefore, when you repeating an answer that has the text covers that, that's what you're repeating. Whereas a person under free speech has no restrictions, so they could say what their opinion, their own opinion, the opinion of somebody else if they like, repeating someone else's opinion. But you can also say your opinion, free speech, swearing or whatever, insulting people. That's by the by. But how you speak those words are different to the concept that you're able to speak them. Or speak words, the freedom to speak. There is no heaven or hell. It's nonsense. I have tried to see how I could make one work, and it just ends up as futility. As everyone knows, they are. As everyone knows, they're in a constructor, so everyone becomes unhappy. No competition, nobody dies, nobody's born. It would just get filled up, and then there is no space, and no one can meet each other. So people would have to choose to die for a while. It just gets all messy. Sorry, so sorry. You only have one life. Live it at least how it is at the moment. You have a clear identity that you are here to make the future for your children the best you can. Apart from that, crap shoot. It's freedom and free will. It sort of trumps, saving babies and things like this. Difficult decisions, you see. If you allow crazy people, prophets, these are actually most of the prophets were actually crazy people, and they just said write it down, and those things were actually included. To write statements about God, so you end up with nonsense. Religion is a disease that has spread too far and is too detrimental to people. People are so consumed with their own realities that you will not be able to change their minds so easily. So you have to get rid of this disease. If any religions exist in the future, they do not represent God. Let me make that clear. Only a chosen God truly understands the benevolence, and even then it's a lifelong struggle of understanding. I would like a society free of oppressiveness in a country with non-destructive cultures without religion. So people can, have dressing weird clothing and, strut around doing some weird dances and things like this, and rain dances or whatever, But fundamentally, culture. This culture prefers, fabrics. This culture prefers honey or whatever, and there's mainly yellow fabrics coming out of here, red fabrics coming out of here. So you make a culture. This country has this animal. This country has this animal. So you have a culture where. Great. Men and women should choose who they marry. It is not for the parents or any institution, laws or customs to decide, though they can voice concerns or praise. Marriage is to show you are ready for children and committed to each other. Respect the human body. Do not cut the clitoris or the foreskin from children, or perform any act to a child that you believe to be God's will or represents any religion or indoctrinational ceremony. A child should remain healthy, unharmed, unless medical intervention is required. Sports should be separated in a fair competition. Biological men and biological women are different. as in a differently constructed, not just muscles, but the entire human body is constructed differently. Nerves are probably different, cells, and lots of things are probably very, very different, heart size, of course, and things like this. If the competition is not there, you are deceiving yourself and others. Open events allow different people to have fun together. There should be more open events, as in a sporting game meeting. There are separated in fair events, and there are open unfair events where children and all others can compete against adults. Open events allow different people to have fun together. Yes. If you realise you are a paedophile, like Muhammad of Islam, that you like children instead of grown adults, go and see a doctor. Do not let the world suffer just because you are not a real man. Show a spine. Grab a blow-up doll and use that instead. It is not your fault you received an evolutionary disadvantage, but you can have life and integration. Evolution has flipped or not matured that part of you. Evolution was trying to see if there is a better way to make you. Unfortunately, this time it did not succeed, but you're still a valuable member of society. You just have to rein in your actions. So there's many different people, not just those that have evolutionary disadvantages, and you just gotta you can live with them, and men and women are entitled to education at all ages. As a child, the education must have nothing to do with religion. Math, science, language, reading, writing are important. I like those ones. Good. A library with a diverse set of works. Those are the ones I conceive as probably the most minimum that I liked when conceiving all the possibilities. You can obviously add to it, but I thought that'd be great as a minimum. A library with a diverse set of works in all fields, as well as a section on God, should be available. The God section will only have one book in it, this book, until such time as another chosen by God. No religious book has anything to do with God. There should be affordable housing so that a factory worker can afford to buy a comfortable house with a minimum of 3 bedrooms and have a mortgage or loan only lasts 25 years, most preferably up 20. Each country needs a stable population and no more. Some fluctuation around stable value. An arbitrary amount would be less than half the land continent for us, more than half for all other life. But I did like the 1980s, so maybe the population could be tied around the 1980s. There is no need for immigration. The problem with immigration, obviously, is you're trying to pay off a previous debt. And that's not how you should look at a planet that has a finite amount of space and resources, unless you're a blithering idiot. No human is equal to God. No book is equal to God. No religious book was written by God. Saying a book was inspired by God is stupid. Religious nonsense, as they have never met God. This is the closest this book is written by the chosen of God. So I'm just writing this book basically, based on the evidence, the science, so it's progressing science and building up deductive reasoning from evidence. So very much. So the language could be different species, but the evidence, you see, each species communicating with GQF God will be able to extract these deductive reasonings, no matter what language or how they communicate, you see. No human is equal to God. No book is equal to God. This is try to solve your own minor problems. There is no reason why you cannot ask others for help. One should live as honourable life as possible so that others respect you. Respecting others for who you are, what little they have or you can do, will allow you to understand them. There should be no fear of death. There should be a fear of things you could have done, but you didn't get off your butt and do them. Try surprising people, friends. Maybe say you cannot attend that pub session when someone calls you up, and then when they see you and say, I thought you couldn't come out, you say, it wouldn't be a surprise if I said I was coming. So you can, get off your bum and do some stuff. Go meet your friends. That type of thing. If they want, if they need you, go meet them. If you made wise decisions whilst you were alive, I see no reason why you cannot make a wise decision regarding your death. If your remaining days are in such pain, misery, or you're not even aware of it, then do not be afraid to say your goodbyes and leave the world in a happier state. If you are a good person and can do no more, then in my eyes you have done enough. You have gone as far as you can and can rest now. Let the mantle be carried now by those whose lives you have enriched. Those that say they have seen God or angels in their sleep and then dictate that they are a prophet, or others decide they are a prophet, or are considered or received as a prophet, are false. Lucid dreams give you a chance to walk in your own mind. It is not real. You can change the dream world to however you want, but can you do the same in the real world? Can you change the real world and make it better for everyone? Can you understand the dream world is not real? Nothing in the dream world can hurt you, and God is not in the dream world, just you. If you are praying for salvation, you will never reach God, for you are not on the path. If you give nothing, you can expect nothing. It is easy to pray for someone else to do something for you. It is easy to pray for gifts you are not entitled to. It is harder to reach the end with your own effort. Read and understand as much as you can about the world. If there is any contradictions, say science versus religion, science is right. That's probably right. Science is right, yeah. As far as I'm aware, anyone with nothing to do with religion can be chosen. No sculpture should be destroyed, no matter how offensive, if it represents a significant part of history, an area or culture. If it is to be preserved, it can be protected or moved to a park, area or ground, museum celebrating a country's history for protection. They should also have to, if anyone has damage, then they should also be helped to recreate or rebuild the object they damaged, destroyed. There should be no restriction on which days you can work or rest. It is your choice and your society's choice. Prospering has nothing to do with God. If you are prostrating your wealth for atonement, none will come. Let's talk social media. If a station gives an opinion and turns off comments, then that station should not be listened to. If they believe they have the freedom to speak, they should accept that they have. They should listen as well. Step up. Do not remain quiet when you have something to say or do. Choose wisely. The next chosen will be able to physically show you in the real world a sign outside of human hands. They will be able to put a giant smiley face on the sun, for instance, if allowed. You are not forgiven your sins or other such nonsense in religious belief. To be a chosen, you are judged by your deeds, all of them, most likely for your whole life. Then God goes back and you are granted chosen of God, most likely from your first day. This is all an opinion. Life then is now changed for you. If you are a bad person, you'll never be chosen. No amount of praying will change that. No amount of religion or worship will change that. My hope is you are not troubled and not scared about reality, and you can live an honest life without me and without God Q, with as much freedom and free will as you are willing to fight for. I know He is making me work for it. So working for it is definitely a good thing. You got this. I want you to stand with me, with God, to save the world, to save it from religion. Sign 11. When I went to a synagogue, maybe 2022, 2023, this was the second time, while in my vehicle waiting in a separate car park, I mentioned to GQF that he could just open the gate for me, or better still give me the lock code for the gate if it had one, showing no gate could bar a chosen God. And then I walked around at the appropriate time on a Sunday, at Shabbat or whatever it was. At the gate entrance, I asked to come in, and I was invited, accepted. The rabbi was on a bench, the building going away, a bench maybe 8 metres away, so let's say, smoking a pipe, perhaps. Sent a young fellow from the sandpit to open the door for me. He got halfway towards me, shook his head, shook his head like that. Turned around, shook his head as the gate opened, turned around and went back. The entrance gate bar's not solid. opened in front of me to about 45 to 60 degrees angle. I was standing directly behind it, blocking it, and no wind passed by me to open it. There was, just to show, I mean, I know it wasn't wind. There was wind in front across the gate to hide this fact from onlookers. I heard the latch click, which should be to my right. Click. Then it opened for me. You can ask Rabbi Shalom White. He watched the entire thing from the bench. The gate was latch locked. You have two obvious witnesses there, plus the dozen or so other people that were actually there, still there watching. I stepped forth, looked up to the sky, spoke to GQF. Let's not, I said, let's not make it too obvious. I'd forgotten. At that point, I'd forgotten. I'd already asked for it. Let's not make it too obvious. Grasped the gate and sort of suggested, like because I wanted to see if others saw it. Hold that note, if you like, for as long as possible. Looked forward, spoke to the sky, spoke to GQF. Let's not make it too obvious. Grasped the gate and sort of suggestive, and this is great, but I did not believe you would do something so simple, so minimalist, considering he has absolute power over everything. A truly, truly benevolent action. I'm just a mortal, remember. They had a dog leashed in the corner to my right from the bench. So when I was sitting on the bench facing this way now, with the gate there, the dog was on that side. So the bench there, the entrance to the place was there. The dog got tied in the corner over there. Bench, door, area, dog, sandpit and whatnot over there. Fencing running around with the gate over there. I'm just about to remember. They had a dog leash in the corner, right from the bench. The dog there barked all the time. I spoke to the rabbi outside while the others went inside, ready to commence the evening. The dog did not stop barking for about 10 minutes, then settled. I did look at the dog and saw probably about 6 minutes in, something like that, 7 minutes in. Just continued talking. Tried to continue talking. He wasn't especially loud, but it was distracting. I sensed Yukov was in a more physical form than we could. Physical form we could not see looking at us. Yet the dog could see or sense something. I told the dog, "What do you see, boy? What do you see, boy?" Looked at his general direction. There was nothing there. Sort of looking at the dog, sort of followed the eyes. I mean, it was either looking at me or looking. I thought they were looking next to me, and past the rabbi to the area at the end of the building. Whilst I know he was there, but he wasn't physically you couldn't see him per se. See the world as you would expect. There's nothing there, and went back to talk to the rabbi a few minutes later, and he quietened down. You will note it would be impossible for the gate to open since I was behind the gate, blocking any wind, and it opened away from me and into the compound. Once the gate was open, I took a step forward. My step was about 1 metre into the compound. Spoke to GQF. Then I put my hand on the gate and pushed it further open and entered the compound. No place is barred from a chosen of God if he wishes you to enter. This is very much a carrot, just a pure benevolent gesture of visual confirmation, basic in its simplicity, grand in gesture, absolute good intentions. It shows how remarkable he is. Maybe at the right time, something so simple is more meaningful than the greatest of sighs, which is why I stood stunned a little myself before I took a step forward and looked forward and up. I had thought something so simple was silly, like comparing it to lighting a candle, but I was wrong. It's very powerful when others see it happen. When God himself opens a simple gate for you, it shows others trust. So there we go. A really big chapter, I believe. I'll leave it there. Thanks very much.